So, this video turned out very different to how it was planned. I was initially going to review Flying Shark because I thought, you know what, let's make a nice easy one. I'm tired and I've got to do the washing up later. Stick a shoot 'em up on there, easy and painless. Oh, it's died. Let's try again. Oh, it's died again. On the third attempt, I misclicked the tap file and instead of loading Flying Shark, I loaded Flying Train. Instead of immediately switching it off and trying again, I was mesmerized by the text on screen. Scientists say it is now possible to witness a supernova explode in slow motion, but due to powers we know nothing about, this can only be achieved in a train. We here at Random Records now offer you the chance to go plain loco in your very own Flying Train. If that isn't a good intro to a game, I don't know what is. Now, I didn't realise until much later that the man behind the game was none other than Chris Sievey. I'd read the name, and I recognised it, but I couldn't quite place it, having grown up knowing the man as simply Frank Sidebottom. Who is Frank Sidebottom? Good question. I presume you're not from the UK and you weren't born in a particular era, if you're asking that, because anyone who has ever witnessed Frank Sidebottom is very unlikely to forget him. This is Frank. If you've never seen him before, then you may well recognise him from the film Frank, which was and was not a film about Frank Sidebottom, in so much that it captured the spirit and essence of Frank's counterculture escapades, but it was, in fact, a complete fabrication in which Frank was played by Michael Fassbender, based on Jon Ronson's weird time within the band.
Frank finds inspiration in everything.
I find this inspiring.
Chris Sievey died in 2010, and the legacy of work he left behind him is far too much to go into detail on here, so here's a quick blurb at least. Unable to get a record deal in his teenage years, he set up his own record label, forming the Freshies in 1977. Thanks in part to Mike Reed on Radio 1, the Freshies began to get a decent amount of airtime for singles such as
I'm in love with the girl on a certain Manchester megastore checkout desk. Beats me, the Freshies.
To meet all the top people.
With national success still far out of reach, Chris began to introduce his Frank Sidebottom creation, a giant round-headed monstrosity which, if you were me, would absolutely terrify you as a child. This comedy character ended up being a hit on Radio Timperley, and he ended up working alongside Carolina Hearn as the Mrs. Merton character, Mark Radcliffe, and Jon Ronson. Chris saw most of his success in the northwest of England, but by the mid-90s, even that was beginning to wane and the Frank character was effectively retired. From then on, Chris went to work in stop motion, becoming a regular crew member on Bob the Builder, as well as a writer on the 4th season of Pingu. Chris brought the Frank character back in 2005 and would continue to release music until his untimely death in 2010 at the age of 54, succumbing to cancer. At the time of death, Chris was penniless and due to receive an ordinary state funeral, but thanks to an outpouring of donations from fans, over 21 grand was raised to hold a proper funeral to celebrate the man who was anything but ordinary.
He had a unique view of the world, they had a unique childhood, and those of us who spent time with him had a unique time, and I'll never forget it, Chris, and thank you.
That's an abridged version. There's a lot to Chris's story that would require a documentary in itself, but the reason I've brought you all here today is because, well, he was a man of many talents. One of those talents was not spell checking, but he did dip his hand into some basic coding, and, well, what better place to start than Flying Train, Lord Almighty. The instruction keys inform you that C will drop your train vertically and V will glide your train down one row at a time. The idea here is to land your train on top of its wheels, which is a lot easier said than done. But before that, the game crashes. Oh, Chris, you cheeky oik. Press any trousers to start your test. Just one hint that you're in for a wild ride, but not just a wild ride, a weird ride, and a bloody difficult one. You see, in order to even get past the first section of the game, you need to land multiple trains successfully. And to do that, you have to get the timing absolutely perfect. This is not helped by the fact that trains can overlap, making it complete guesswork as to where you actually need to land the bloody thing. Somehow, by a combination of skill and pure luck, I managed to get all 9 trains into position, and I've got to say, as stupidly designed as it is, there's something primally satisfying about nailing those landings. It really clicks a dopamine switch in your head, your giant papier-mâché head. On the next stage, you have to get your flying train space ready, of course. The Space City Astronaut and Monkey organisation are going to be sending over some fuel that you need to now catch on the back of your train. You need to catch 10 units in total, and any that you miss will set the track on fire. Of course, I instantly missed because I forgot what the buttons were and moved out of the way even though I didn't even need to move at all. Absolute moron. Thankfully, the level resets after a number of fuel drops, and this entire section is much, much easier than the first level. That difficulty curve doesn't last long, however. Once all fuel is collected, you're treated to this amazing cutscene. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed out loud at that. I'm a simple man. On this next section, I'd love to tell you what happens when you succeed, but unfortunately I can't. You have to aim your train at the platform that immediately turns invisible, but you only get one chance, and I immediately pressed the wrong button, which put me straight into the time tunnel, and oh boy, you get no instructions for this at all, other than hitting certain points will put you backwards or forwards in time. Let me just play some straight up footage of this. So you'll see that there are instructions sort of flashing up a bit. Your train moves and reappears at random places. I have absolutely no idea what's going on. Pressing different buttons makes different sounds, and I think your train moves based on button presses, but after 5 solid minutes of this, I eventually managed to make something happen. And yeah, I instantly died. Bugger. I did try again, but having got back to the time tunnel, I couldn't for the life of me work out how to get it to trigger the next section. I will say, though, that I'm absolutely fascinated. It's rare that a ZX Spectrum game, of all things, has this level of bizarre humour in it. This feels like something that's only recently been popularised in the past 10 or 15 years with games like You Have to Burn the Rope or Frog Fractions. A game that is a game, but is also meta, and is mostly used to completely ruin the user's conception of everything. It is an absolute work of art, and it is also completely broken, and I love it. Chris's next game is a little less weird, and actually quite a decent game in itself. The Biz is a band management game that features a lot of customization, from band name to music genre to even including a couple of your friends. Now, bizarrely, by pure coincidence, it seems that Chris was interviewed on ITV's The Tube about The Biz, in the same episode that Kevin Smith was interviewed about It's Only Rock and Roll, which was later published by KTEL, which I've just done a video about. I feel like I'm in a shit version of The Matrix.
You look like you're fun to me. I opened up my loving arms and watch out, 'cause here I come. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like an acorn, right round, right round.
Unlike It's Only Rock and Roll, The Biz does a decent job of recreating the music industry in a text-based format. It's simple, sure, but there's a good set of numbers and a decent level of humour behind the game that allows it to shine. If, for example, you decide to take drugs from a random groupie, you immediately become addicted to heroin, lose £1,000 and can't see the game properly for the rest of your playthrough. What else could you ask for, honestly? Last then, but not least, is a music video. A music video written in BASIC and meant to be played alongside the track it went with, and it's truly wonderful, both in terms of the track itself and the fact that Chris had the forethought to even do this. He was a man well outside of his own time, someone who straddled the line between mad genius, tragic comic and starving artist throughout his life, and these ZX Spectrum programs are just a small glimpse of a larger-than-life life. So I will say this. Go and experience these things yourself. They are maddeningly bizarre and will no doubt have you asking, is this the real life or is this just Timperley? But you will never forget them once you've experienced them. And that can't be said of most things, especially from this era. I'll leave Chris to play you out here with the track Camouflage alongside the ZX Spectrum music video programmed alongside it.
I hope you enjoy it, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.
See